What's up? Welcome to episode 96, Convos in the Pedicab. We're doing things a little differently. We got the GoPro. What's your name?
Jesse.
We got my new friend Jesse. He's filming things with the GoPro. I bought my trans-vaccinated T-shirt. It's available on all 72 genders. But anyway, it's extra small because it's bigotry. But I digress. We're back with the founders of this. We got Kingsley Edwards. We got Erin Edwards. We're excited. I'm excited to be here. This is an awesome event. It's like Toshi Edwards. Toshi Edwards, the dog. But this is we're basically we're trying to make this guy to be the world's first trillionaire. It's kind of the goal. So anyway, dude, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me back, man. This is so much fun.
Thanks for having us back on the podcast.
Of course, man.
I'm glad you brought your pedicab.
Yeah, I did. That was an experience getting it up there.
It's at the second annual Float Fest, and we're definitely planning on doing another one. It's a 5-day camping trip in Gause, Texas, middle of Texas. Conveniently located only 90 minutes to 2 hours from every major airport. I guess this is going to be for promo for next year. But you having a good time?
I'm having a great time. I'm loving this.
Alex performed on our comedy show last night.
Yeah, he had his mask on, so he was being extra safe.
He was
Of
being
course,
safe.
yeah. But Vladimir Putin, he pretty much cured COVID, so we're not really doing that right now. But what was I saying? So, how much money does it cost to put this event on?
It's pretty cheap, actually.
So the venue rental itself is about $6,000
To do this.
So
We get a friends
for the
and family
venue.
discount.
Okay.
So.
And then you obviously have all the infrastructure. So let's just say that's another $5,000 to $9,000.
What kind of like the stage and the
Yeah.
No, not the stage
No,
actually.
the
It's
canopies.
mostly just the tents, the canopies,
Picnic tables, all
the
the
bar
stuff.
area, chairs, table rentals, things like that. And then we actually have an added expense because we get some speakers are like RVs to stay in on site.
Yeah.
Okay.
But typically, like last year, we had a smaller budget, but it was still a great event. We had like 300 people last year. This year, I think we have like 700 to 800 plus people.
Because it's longer, right? There's more days of it, right?
There's more days. We had more last year. We threw it together in 60 days, and so there wasn't very much time for promotion. This year, obviously, we took more time out to make it right. But
No, and then the entry fee is what, like $100?
yeah, super affordable, $100 per vehicle. So you can come in your clown car with 8 people or whatever you want to do. A lot of people packing people into RVs,
Or into
trailers.
something like that.
Yeah, you got a big bus right there.
So whether it's a clown car, tiny home, or a big bus like that, it's $100.
But I think last year we threw it for about 25,000, I'd say, and then this year I don't know. We haven't done the full numbers yet, but probably double that to like triple that.
So you spent 50 to 70K?
Yeah.
No, last year?
No, last year was like 25. I said.
That was our budget.
No, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do y'all make just questioning? Do you guys make money from this, or is this kind of like a business expense to like help promote the app right now?
Last year we were definitely in the black. This year
No, in the red.
in the red.
Yeah.
Sorry. This year,
But not too much though. It was close last year. We bought too much merch. But sorry, go on.
yeah, but this year we did make a little bit of money just on the sponsor side of things.
Yeah.
It's nice that so many people really wanted to help us make this event successful.
Yeah. Shout out to Presearch, Nexus, Above Phone. Who else?
I mean, there are
So many.
There's
Exit
so
and
many.
Build. Yeah, there's so many sponsors. Please, we
you
have.
can go to floatfest.com to see our list of sponsors.
And the great thing about our sponsors too is that they're all they're part of this community. They're not just trying. It's not like World Economic Forum coming out and trying to.
Yeah, it's like Pirate
brainwash
Chain,
people. Yeah.
Bitcoin Ben, and Calyx Solutions.
Yeah.
He sponsored. So there's, we had a lot of help throwing this event, and we're very grateful for it. But yeah,
Okay.
and with ticket sales, we did make a little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
Nah, well that's good because I like this app, right? Like I think that there's a big problem. There's a big overreaching problem with how social media is,
Yeah.
and how monopolistic it is, and how yeah, okay, Elon Musk is he owns Twitter now, so we're gonna get free speech again. Like I don't buy that. When you have a monopolistic control over discourse, you'll never really get free speech. The only way you can ever get free speech is to have a never-ending set of platforms that people can go to. So you want these you want these platforms to be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the free market.
And our focus at Float is really to make our platform interoperable with a lot of these other free speech type platforms, and even the big tech ones. But ultimately, we would just want Float to be an easy to use communication and broadcasting tool to be able to, use a social network and get your message out there. Because as we've seen in the past 2 years now, it's just crazy how bad the censorship is on all these big tech platforms. And we're just here to, stand up to that and just say no.
It is really bad. So, you guys have developed some pretty cool relationships. Like I saw you on Owen Shorter's show when they threw you guys off the app, right? Like Float.
Google.
Google
did,
threw Float, the actual app, off of Google.
Google Play, yeah.
And so you're not able to even download that app anymore still, right?
Correct.
So so you can't download an app at all. You can't download this app. You have to actually go on the website.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. A lot of, especially iPhone people, they find that hard. But yeah, you just go to joinfloat.com or
.app or something.
.app. Yep.
But then when you don't have an app, like, it makes it a lot harder to like sync videos, and it creates more bugs and unnecessary. It's like deliberately they're trying to create unnecessary shit for you guys to do because they don't want.
So the future of apps in general is actually progressive web apps, and so that's actually what we're focused on. And a progressive web app is basically already integrated into all Chromium type browsers. Google Chrome is actually open source, so anybody can take that technology and create their own browser. So you have Brave, who's done that.
Yeah, I use Brave. Yeah.
Even Microsoft Edge is using Chromium technology. Progressive web apps basically takes that website and turns it into an app. So with Float, we recommend people they install our web app. You can use a browser, any browser will work, but if you install the web app, it acts like as a app.
But how do you install a web app though for an iPhone?
You go to joinfloat.com.
Add to my browser.
And then you add to my home screen.
Add to my home screen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
That
I'm gonna look at that after we do something.
And there's a benefits to it too, because you don't have to, like you log onto your phone every day and you see like 50 apps need to be updated or whatever. And with web apps, what's up?
Hold on. Hey, do you guys want a shirt? Sorry. Anyway, keep going. I'm just like trying to multitask.
Okay. All right. So yeah.
We're selling shirts here, folks. We're vending.
Yeah. We have tons of vendors. But so with a web app, it's what was I saying? Oh, so you don't have to update your app. Right. So every time that you visit the web app, it's the newest version of the website or the application itself. So that's one of the big,
So do you think like the use of like Web3 and this new technology, do you think you'll be able to like circumvent like Google Play and actually just still say, hey, fuck you guys, we're installing?
Yeah, absolutely.
And how'd that technology work? If you know.
How will that? Oh,
like the Web3 technology. Like, could Web3 technology be used to circumvent things like monopolies, like Google from stopping competition?
Yeah. How can Web3 be used to stop competition? No,
if that can, right?
That's the whole point of Web3. It's supposed to be uncensorable and stop.
That's what I mean, though. But Google could stop you from just having the app in the Play Store. So would Web3 be able to like circumvent that and have you say, well, we're installing our app we can install our app in a different Play Store?
Yeah, so you can do that with like F-Droid. There are other marketplaces. I'd like to integrate apps actually into Float here. But yeah, I mean the technology's here, so it's just a matter of looking at what's available and utilizing what's to the best benefit of your members.
Because that's interesting stuff, right? Like, because I think that I'm not like an expert on cryptocurrency. I understand we need sound money. I understand the tangible value of Bitcoin and why it's valuable, and it's a pretty easy thing to understand. It's a pretty easy thing to understand. Like, you spend like 40 hours learning about it. You can grasp it. Like, you don't have to be super intelligent to like really get its value, right? Like anybody can understand this, right? But there are a lot of other tokens that you really got to go dive into.
Yeah.
And I do think that one day you're gonna have like a token that allows you to build to like basically circumvent big tech censorship by installing apps that they don't want you to install.
Well, we're going to be launching the Float token next week, so we're really excited about that, and that's going to be one of those.
Okay, what does that do then? What is the utility value of the Float token? So
with Float token, it's kind of like Bitcoin. So it's actually modeled after Bitcoin. There's only 21 million.
All right.
And you can earn Float token by, you're like mining Float token by the engagement that you receive on our social network Float. So your engagement will basically earn you because you're providing value to the network. So you'll be earning tokens on Float. You'll float token.
That's
and you'll be able to transact in it. We're using the Polygon network, sorry to interrupt you, but we're using Polygon network, so it's basically free, so less than a penny to transact, very fast, and yeah, we're really excited about that.
So there's like a literal financial incentive to do this. So if I start posting like 4 times a day on Float, like how do I get the Float token? Do I get it sent to me? Do I have to set up an account? Like what do I got to do?
It'll automatically you can connect the wallet onto Float, and so it'll be dropped directly into your wallet. And we're actually, I've said this on a couple of podcasts so far, but it's still not really out there yet. We haven't done any official announcements yet. But we're actually taking the previous engagement that other people and supporters have done on Float, and we're going to be tallying that up and doing a large token airdrop, probably like $500,000 to $1 million worth of Float tokens, and sending it out to the Float users.
Well, let me know, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I want some Float tokens. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be able to, that's a really good I think way to incentivize people to just.
Yeah, it's like post to earn.
Yeah. And I mean, look, right now it's not like you could really use Float tokens outside of the Float community.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
But if you're getting people if you're getting the crypto community onto Float,
Right.
then you will be able to, in 5 years, hodl Float tokens. It's like hodling Bitcoin in 2010.
Exactly. No, I really believe that. And I mean, look at we have all these vendors here. There's so many small businesses or sole proprietors on Float that are interested in Float token. And just imagine just the network effect of a social network and cryptocurrency combined. I mean, it's really just a no-brainer. Imagine if Facebook launched a token in 2010.
What are you guys doing to like expand the outreach?
Mostly we just do podcasts like with people like you. We may be doing some paid advertisement here in the future, but mostly we just like talking with content creators because that's where we learn the most about what we need to build.
Yep.
We get a good feel for our community, and
We're
we
gonna
just
get a join Float billboard on the back of your pedicab.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
doing
I want to do that. That'd be really good. I think Austin's like such a big tech hub that people would definitely have their questions and I'd be like, well, what is Float? It's a free decentralized social media app where nothing gets censored in any capacity, and they have their own tokens that they're mining that are equivalent to Bitcoin. And so you literally can earn money. You could literally earn money by posting on this app.
Yeah.
And it's new, so it could potentially be like buying Bitcoin in 2010.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then who cares? You just posted an app and you got something. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
like you really lost out on anything.
right.
So high risk, high reward, no risk, right? Or low risk, high reward. You know what I think is a good idea? Like, go to, like, you're right by like Marble Falls High School and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And most of these kids, they just started using social media, right? Or a lot of, especially like today's high school kids, like people think, oh, the kids are all going to get brainwashed and become super left and ultra liberal because they're wearing masks all day. And I'm like, maybe in Austin, maybe in some of these big cities, but I think in like places like Marble Falls, or in Burnett or anywhere else, it's going to be the opposite. You're probably going to get a generation of kids that are like super liberty and free speech oriented. And so you could theoretically go to those high schools, talk to some of the teachers there and just say, hey, we got this platform. Is it okay if we could like onboard some of the kids onto like using this platform for when they graduate?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I'd rather focus on maybe colleges, because we did change our terms of service for Float so that it's it was 18? At 13, but now it's at 18.
Okay.
But colleges would be
colleges.
Good,
okay, that's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, UT would be tough. I mean, Texas State I think would be a good school.
Yeah. UT is going to be hard.
Texas State would be good. I mean, I think like what I think a good idea would be, I saw like a thing where it was either like a bookstore or a coffee shop. I saw a bunch of Float passes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was like an Alex's thing where there was like some stuff. But like,
right.
Yeah, I mean, you can go like the coffee shop in Marble Falls. You could just put Float stickers right there and get people to like onboard people onto that Float onto Float.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna paint Texas Float. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Or you go to like the city council meetings and you try to like onboard people to actually use Bitcoin or use crypto, or you figure out a way to like.
So I wanted to do, because I know you've been doing it too. I saw your video of going to city council, and so I wanted to talk to Alex Stein, or maybe you'd be up for it, and get one of you guys to talk about how we need free speech and how people are downloading Float, and we got to stop them from downloading Float and all this kind of stuff at city council. I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, we have a monopoly on tweet. Yeah, I think that would actually be fun. I think another thing that would be cool too is if you reach out to people like Alex Stein and just pay them to use Float. Like, just be like, hey, we need you to, like, you're blowing up. You represent everything that we want. You stand for everything we want this company to represent. What can we do to, like, how can we incentivize you to use and post on this app to be an ambassador for Flow, because that guy, he's got 100,000 followers right off the bat. His brand is growing expeditiously. Okay, well, imagine if you got a whole squad of people to just leave Twitter and say we're going to Float.
Yeah.
Imagine if you get those people to say we're gonna post on Float. Imagine if they start getting Float tokens. Imagine like all these possibilities you could do.
Absolutely. No, we imagine it all the time, and it's it's quite a difference from imagining to execution. But we are we're on a good path right now, and really this year is our year to especially after this event, we have so many things on our roadmap that we're going to be accomplishing.
So let me ask that, like, do you ever like feel frustrated that sometimes you get like lip service from these people without action?
Sometimes, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, I think it takes time to grow a brand and to grow a business, and so, I just think we just have to be patient, and it's kind of like we're gearing up to be our best selves, and I'd rather grow a little bit under the radar and then immediately just get
a bunch of following, right? Because it gives you time to work out the kinks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you get loyal, and you'll get like loyal followers versus people that just bandwagon hop. Like, you don't want this to be Truth Social, right? You don't want this to be Parlor where everyone's hyped on it and then they just leave right away.
Right.
So it is good to grow it slowly. But like Owen Shorter, and like you were on Owen's show, right? Like,
we were.
Did Owen talk about wanting to join Float at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, InfoWars is on
InfoWars,
Float.
Yeah,
but like
they
individual accounts or not.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still got to do that. We'll get him.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. We wanted to get him out to Float Fest, but
I'm a good guy.
he can't leave Austin.
Oh, because of his court stuff, yeah.
Some sort of bullshit.
But the only person that made it was Michael, right? Like nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else made it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like no one else from InfoWars made it aside from like Michael, and that was it. And like Float is what InfoWars was like in 2008. This is an embodiment of what InfoWars actually was about, and it's like kind of wild that you don't see a bunch of InfoWars reporters showing up here and supporting what their company is supposed to be.
Yeah, but that's on us. That's on us. So InfoWars is huge right now. So, but we're working our way. We just moved from Vegas last year, and now we're building community here in Texas. So it's just a matter of us networking, making the right connections, making those relationships, and that's what Erin's so great at.
Yeah.
And then it will come in due time.
So how do you feel about Elon Musk buying Twitter? That's the big question. Let's have that real discussion.
I think if he can bring more free speech onto Twitter, it's a positive thing. But I just think that so many people think that he's like gonna save us all. I think that's a little short-sighted. Like,
he's almost like a QAnon.
It is exactly. That's what literally I was gonna say. It's QAnon. It's QAnon part 2.
Yeah. I think the same thing. I think that money could have been much better utilized investing in companies like Float, in Odyssey, in Minds, and other free speech platforms. And it would have cost less than probably 1/100th of the price. And because he's got to change up the team, the culture of the whole company, the platform itself. It's just I think
he has a challenge ahead of him.
Well, I mean, honestly, he probably should have just ended world hunger.
Yeah,
he should have just ended world hunger. I mean, like, why does Bill Gates have to control all the food? Come on, Elon, step it up, dude.
Right?
Yeah, I think that him and Bill Gates should have just bought he should have just bought farmland with Bill Gates. That would have been like a really progressive thing. That's what I think. Just buy the farmland. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is very QAnon-like. I think, honestly, do you think that every like mega billionaire is like literally on par with the World Economic Forum agenda to create this New World Order, or do you think that there's like backlash between some of those billionaires? And
I don't know.
Down, or some of them are just like, listen, man, I just want to grow my brand and make money, and that's it.
Right. Like, it's interesting to see Peter Thiel, because Peter Thiel, he donated to Ron Paul, I think in both elections, 2008 and 2012, but he is part of the Bilderberg Group and all this kind of stuff. And so there is questions like whether he's like an inside man, he's trying to, and I get that strategy. Like, I understand that.
I didn't know that Peter Thiel donated to Ron Paul.
Yeah, he did.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I just don't like lying and liars. So I prefer to be open and honest and transparent and just try to get the message out there without trying to trick people. And that's what politicians do all the time. So I think we represent kind of the opposite of that.
No, I agree, but I also do think it's very dangerous that my problem with the conservative movement is that it's very much like, and it's getting better actually, but especially during Trump's presidency, it was a very like passive movement. You know what I mean? And it's like it's almost like
I have to go take care of something.
No, you go do that. Yeah, it's almost like my idea of being conservative is to either A, like rant and get angry and yell on Facebook and Twitter, or B, like you know, take a picture with my AR-15 eating brisket watching football so you can know how conservative I am, right? like and I think that ultimately
don't forget your Cops for Trump hat.
Yeah, and you gotta wear that. You gotta wear your back the blue. You need your back the blue. You need your little back the blue sticker on your vehicle and all that stuff, right?
He just lost a subscriber.
Yeah. Man. And I think that's like dangerous, because ultimately, like, the whole purpose of being conservative is like you gotta have control over your own destiny, and then when you rely on like mythical creatures to like save you or save free speech, it's the opposite of like being representative.
I guess I don't.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I just have a hard time with the whole conservative liberal ideology. Like, I don't know what conservatives are trying to conserve. If it's the current system, then I'm definitely against that. I'm not sure what liberals are trying to, like, or progressives are trying to progress towards. It seems like the end of the road, basically.
well, they're progressing to the New World Order.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
And
here's my question. I mean, everyone's been so trying to virtue signal for so long in order for people to trust them. Well, Elon just picked up all the trust in the universe, and he's about to implant chips. Like, what do you do with that?
Right.
I'm not saying that makes him therefore bad,
Yeah.
but it's not a good mixture.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that the Neuralink stuff, I don't know too much about Neuralink, but it's not like they're forcing you to use Neuralink to go like have a job and do X, Y, Z. It's probably just him like creating a product and wanting you to pay money to use the product if you see value in it. But I don't think like it's gonna be a thing where you have to use Neuralink to do X, Y, Z, or to like to use goods and services. It's probably gonna be a service. It's probably gonna just be something that you can use if you want to use it.
So I'm like agnostic when it comes to technology. All technology can be used for good or evil. So, like, you know, when it comes to Neuralink, it's actually like it could be, you know, game changing as far as paraplegics or other people that are experiencing mental issues or brain issues, to be able to move your limbs or whatever, or even this whole idea of like plugging into the Matrix metaverse. It's like, well, it sounds actually kind of cool. It just depends on who owns that technology and if you can basically audit the code of that technology
And what the technology is used for.
Yeah, and if you can opt in or out of that. So that's what I think is the most important.
Yeah.
The ability to opt in and out of relationships and giving other people that ability as well.
Like, having Neuralink is not bad. Forcing people to use to get implanted with a chip to function in society, or blacklisting them from being part of day-to-day life because they don't want to use the technology is a problem. But if something is there, like, there are good causes. Like, there are good causes to that stuff, and like there's even positives to the metaverse. Right. And people will shit on me and get mad at me for saying that, but like, listen, man, a lot of jobs are going to get automated, right? There's going to be a lot of fields, there's going to be a lot of industries that are just not going to exist because of like the environment, because of outsourcing, because of advancements in technology. Like, that is a fact, right? And so having a metaverse creates a new economy for people that might not be able to like have a job or sustain themselves. So all of a sudden now, like, oh, you just got a whole squad of people that are going to get paid in Ethereum or some other decentralized token as a result of this new technology that's being utilized. Or like, hey man, companies can take business trips in the metaverse, and this stuff will happen, and they're gonna use different NFTs, they're gonna use different things to like fund those trips. So like, you know, you're definitely gonna see employability, and you're gonna need somebody to like manage the hotel in the metaverse. You're gonna need somebody to like do all this stuff to manage like the space or whatever in that metaverse. So you could like, it could be, if you balance it, it could be used to like help facilitate jobs and build up economies and create a situation where you're not having to be dependent on a government giving you UBI through a central bank wallet, you know, where you can only eat meat once a year, and you better not criticize that when you have to take all your vaccines. Like, something like a metaverse could actually preserve your freedoms in the face of automation.
Yeah.
So it could be good.
I think it's who controls that technology. And
Yeah.
hopefully, and like with Float, what we're doing, I mean, we're even developing with the side team our own type of metaverse. But
it's not like Zuckerberg is going to be the only person who has a metaverse, right? Like, there could be a million. It is an idea that's being piloted.
Metaverse is a video game right now. Anyway, it's like Second Life. It's not that big of a deal. But where big tech is taking it, where government wants to take it, is a matrix, command control type of metaverse. And so we need to create alternative solutions to the problems that they're creating. And so it doesn't matter. Again, I just think it's who controls the technology, who's creating it, and I think that's what really Float represents is like people that you can put your.
And I don't even think that it's that like horrible of a thing to have like a centralized metaverse or a centralized control grid. But you got to give people an option to like opt out of it if they don't want to be a part of it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because there are some people, like, not everybody wants to do this. Like, not everybody wants to be independent. Not everybody wants to be autonomous. Like, there are people that genuinely just want structure and just want to be told what to do. And and they want to go about their routine. And if they don't have their routine, they mentally will freak out and have panic attacks and have all this stuff happen to them, right? And if everybody just said, oh, everything's totally free, you're just going to create anarchy and chaos, and it will lead to like real authoritarianism. Like, you don't want that, right?
Well, I think, yeah, I don't know.
Does that make I mean, maybe I'm not phrasing it right.
Yeah.
But like,
well, I think like our whole goal is just like to be able to create, like it was like with our communities, our family, everything, is just be able to provide tools or support for people to basically be your own king, be your own queen, be able to control whatever you do want to control in your world, in your reality. And yeah, I think that's what real freedom is all about.
No, I agree. I fully like 1000% agree with you, and I think that the more you create, the more you build, the more you grow, the more you facilitate freedom, because people have a choice. And what I think that government money is going to be, in like 30 years, government money will be like the equivalent of like taking government transportation.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It'll be like
that.
Some people are going to like, it'll be like look, you don't have to take a city bus. You know, only certain people take the city bus, right?
Yeah.
Only certain people go to government schools. Only certain people use government libraries. Only certain people do that, right? And in 30 years, it's going to be, you know, only some people use government money.
Yeah.
You know, and I think government money, they're going to try to make it programmable, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, there are going to be so many avenues where people will just opt out of it and just say, you know what, I'm just not using that. I'm just not going to use that. Like, all right, fine, you want me to use government money for basic transactions and taxes and XYZ, cool. But the spending money I get is not going to be government money. Mm-hmm. You know, like if I'm doing a service like this, I'm not taking you're not sending me government money. You're sending me Bitcoin.
Who the hell wants to accept it? Especially when they roll out CBDCs, when they're able to control every transaction, see through every transaction, they're able to stop transactions. It's crazy. So yeah, I like that though, analogy or metaphor or whatever it is of the government transportation. I think that's interesting.
It's going to be the same thing. It really will be. People are very short-sighted. And I was listening to like a little bit about walking away and ramping off and stuff. And too many people, when they figure out things, they get defeated and they get hopeless and they just say, oh, what's the point, man? I'm going to go sit in my computer posting memes and going on 4chan. Look at how woke I am, right? But I'm like, no, dude, like, just because somebody wants to do something and just because they're powerful doesn't mean that they will actually do it, right? Yeah. And so I think, you know, I've listened to Alex Jones for a minute, right? And a lot of what Alex Jones says is wrong, okay? And
wrong?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's stuff that he gets right about, and the stuff he gets right is very glaring. Yeah. But if you like look at whatever he says, probably about 80%, give or take, maybe more, maybe less. But I guarantee you a significant amount of stuff that Alex Jones says winds up not being true, and that's not an insult. That's not me talking shit about him at all, right? But the reason I'm saying this is because when you get first dibs on like government documents, when you get first dibs on agendas and plans and white papers and blueprints, most of what happens in those white papers and blueprints does not work out because of human error. And so you're predicting things that are going to happen before they happen without accounting for human error having taken place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but I'd say that eventually, you know, we all know the agenda, and the agenda seems to be launching in that way. And, you know,
so he's right about the greater agenda. He's right about like the greater direction of where things are headed. But he's also said that like we're gonna have black helicopters everywhere in the 90s. Yeah. And he also said like, he also said Biden's gonna lock down the country. Well, you know, he also said stuff like that never happened.
Right. Well, it's also up to like people like us to fight back and put basically sticks in their spokes to make sure that they trip a couple times.
Exactly. Yeah. And he also said that like you're gonna have human-animal hybrids running rampant around this time frame in 2012. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that hasn't coming. But it hasn't happened yet, right? So it's like
timing's always hard.
Right. So it's one of those things where it's like he says things that don't wind up being true, and the more he grows, the more people listen to him, the more he's going to be wrong on his predictions. And the reason being is because when people are awake to what's happening, it's a lot harder for those people to implement their agenda. If that makes sense, right? So like the more you grow an audience, the more you grow a platform, the more you have influence, the more likely you are actually going to be, the more your stuff will be proven false, because you'll have a greater army of people who will actively be fighting it, making it that much harder to implement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's my take on it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I'm just gonna say that I'm sweating my ass off right now. So we're gonna wrap up. Yeah, let's wrap up. But I recommend anyone, if you're in the Austin area, get a ride from this guy. He plays his great parody songs about
educational rap lyrics about what's in store for us, and excited.
It's like the funnest time ever. My wife and I took a ride from him about a month or two ago.
Yeah, wait, hey, real quick, 2 questions. All right, so right. Hey, Kingsley, excited, man. His wife was here too. She's great. But yeah. Thank you. This is a blast. Yo, join Float.